Gogokid? What is Gogokid? Why did I apply for Gogokid if I already work for 2 other online companies? What is the Gogokid application process even like? Well, in today's video, I'm going to answer all 3 of those questions. I'm also going to give you some footage of my actual Gogokid application. Hello everyone, my name is Alejandra Landano and welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, you find lots of videos specifically about teaching and working online from home. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you might already know that I went through the Gogokid application process. Now, before I tell you why I personally decided to apply to Gogokid, I'm going to give you a little background about what is Gogokid. So, what is Gogokid? Gogokid is an online platform very similar to VIPKid. There are many students who live in China, and Gogokid has native speakers teach those students English. Very similar, as I mentioned, to VIPKid. The classes are 25 to 28 minutes long. They are one-on-one, and they are all done online, either through a computer, laptop. You are an independent contractor, so you have the flexibility of creating your own schedule. And with Gogokid, unlike OutSchool, you do not have to create content. So Gogokid provides all of that content for you, as I mentioned, very similar to VIPKid. So that is what Gogokid is. Now, why did I apply? If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I've been with VIPKid almost 3 years, and I have recently started teaching with OutSchool as well. So why would I add a third company? Why would I also add Gogokid? There's actually a few reasons for it. Last month, they provided a $300 incentive, and I thought, hey, why don't I try to work towards that $300 incentive and apply? So I did, and fortunately, when they were providing this incentive, they also made the application process so easy. So I decided, why don't I take about an hour out of my day, prep for this interview, and just go for it. If you're already a VIPKid teacher, you know that the application process can kind of be a little long. Well, Gogokid has really simplified their application process, and I thought it was a great idea for me to be a teacher or apply to be a teacher with them while this application process is very simple. You also may know that I used to work for iTutor Group, and iTutor Group was my backup company, but I no longer work with them. So I did want another backup ESL company just in case anything ever happens with me and VIPKid. It is always a great idea to have a backup company if you are really relying on those independent contracting jobs. So those are the main reasons I applied, because the application process was so easy to try to get that $300 incentive, and then to now have a backup ESL company. Now, how can you apply? The application process is actually a little bit easy. As I mentioned, they have simplified it tremendously. You can either go to their website or click my link down below. If you do click my link down below, you will actually be one of my referrals. But remember, I never pressure you to use my link. Either way, you go and you fill out the basic information. Now, when you're filling out that written portion, there's a few things you're going to include. Obviously, your name, your education. Keep in mind, for Gogokid, just like VIPKid, you do need that bachelor's degree, but it does not have to be an education. You will also need to provide information about your ESL certificate. Again, if you do not already have one, you can find one and complete a course online. Now, I personally did not have to do this course because I already have an ESL certificate, but if you don't, I know my referral provided a link to a great resource, so I'll leave that in the description box in case you don't already have an ESL certificate, and then you'll provide other basic information about your experience in teaching. After that, you will actually schedule a demo lesson. This is a recorded demo lesson. That means you are never actually face-to-face with another Gogokid teacher, which I thought was pretty great. It's a little bit less daunting, just recording yourself with your computer versus actually having another human being on the other end. And for this portion, you do 2 to 3 minutes of you just introducing yourself, and then you have a 10-minute recorded demo lesson to teach. So really, it's only about 12 to 13 minutes of an interview, and that's it. There's no mock class afterwards, which I thought was a great bonus, because I remember when I was applying for VIP Kid, that was a little daunting. So with Gogokid right now, you do not have to go through that process. So like I was saying before, that's definitely why I decided to hop on into Gogokid, because the application process right now is so easy and it's such a great backup company. Okay, so let's actually go through the walkthrough. I'm gonna go slide by slide with what Gogokid wants you to go over in that demo lesson. Keep in mind, I can't actually show you the slides on this video, but if you have already applied, you can just open it up on your computer and have my video with that demo lesson slides next to each other. Okay, so slide number 1 is just a welcome slide saying, welcome to Gogokid. And there's that cute little unicorn on the slide, but we're gonna go to slide 2. Now, the next page just gives you a little bit of information about Gogokid and the company. The next slide tells you to provide information about yourself. Here, you want to say your name, where you're from, your time zone, your educational background, your ESL certificate, and then your online and offline experience. And I will share an example of what I actually said in my interview. Hello, my name is Alejandra Londano. I live in the United States in Florida, and I live in the Eastern time zone. I have been a teacher for quite a few years. I have an ESOL endorsement that goes with my bachelor's degree in elementary education. The next page, page 4, is for you to share your expectations. Now, my referral mentioned that I should set my expectations a little high. So in this section, you're really sharing your goals. You're sharing how much you plan on teaching with Gogokid, how much money you would like to make with Gogokid every month, and then how much you want your base rate to be. Now, when I said $10 because I wanted to try and reach for the highest. All they can say is no. So if you have ESL experience, I definitely recommend pushing for the highest and see what they give you. I can say my base pay rate, they did give me a higher one than VIP Kid, which I was kind of excited about. All right, so my expectations. I actually have a few goals. My goal is to teach about 25 classes a week, which is a total of 100 classes a month. So I'm hoping to make about $1,000 a month with Gogokid. I would like to have the $10 pay rate per class, especially considering that I already have ESL teaching experience. The next page in that PDF document just mentions all of the teaching tips. I definitely recommend you look over that really on your own time. So some of the things that stood out to me was that you want to be smiling throughout your lesson. You want to use 2 or more props, very simple sentences, use a secondary reward, but all of those are mentioned in the PDF file. Let's go ahead though to the next slide, because that's when your demo lesson will really start. Now, just a side note, if you are totally new to the ESL online teaching community or teaching platform and you see that phrase TPR, I just wanted to mention that I have a whole video that goes into great detail as to what TPR is, because you will see this phrase a lot with Gogokid and VIP Kid, so it's definitely something you want to have background knowledge on, and I will have that video linked down below as well. So we're almost to the lesson slides, but you'll notice on the PDF file number 6, it does go over a few guidelines with the demo lesson, and this is something that is actually very different than VIP Kid. So in the lessons, they sometimes have a little yellow triangle, and that yellow triangle means that your student made some sort of mistake or behavior problem, and you as the teacher need to try to fix it. And you will have a better understanding what I mean as we go through the walkthrough. Okay, now I am on page 8, And this is when your demo lesson actually starts. So you'll see some children on the slide, and it says, welcome to Gogokid, and this is where you as the teacher will introduce yourself. Now for this page, I definitely have a few tips. You want to make sure you are talking very slowly and you're using that TPR. So for example, I might say, hello, my name is Teacher Alejandra. What is your name? So you can see I was very slow. I'm using lots of TPR when I'm saying what is your name. And this is a great place to have a prop. Now when I actually did it, I used that as my prop. It just says my name. You can just make your own little sign that says your name and hang it up behind you in your classroom. Hello! My name is Teacher Alejandra. What is your name? Hi, Cindy. My name is Cindy. Cindy, how are you? Happy? Yes, I am happy. Very good. Cindy, today when you get a magic crystal, we will make an ice cream. Ice cream. Okay, so the next slide is really like the title page. So here you'll see a few characters. You can decide, you can simply just ask the student, like, what do you see? And then you just introduce the lesson. You could say something like, today we will learn about faces. And I'll share my example next. Cindy, what do you see? Yes, I see a girl. Good. I see a boy. Very good, Cindy. Cindy, today we will talk about faces. Okay. Now the next slide will be your first slide that has that hazard symbol. This means that sometime on this slide, you're going to have to pretend to fix the student's mistake. And here the student is mispronouncing I. But this is a great place to use some sort of props. When I share my video, you'll see that I have a printout of one eye, and then I have potato head pieces. So I have a 3D prop with two eyes. Now, you'll also have to experiment with Gogokid on this page because this page is interactive. So you'll actually be able to hit the little boy's eyes. So then a circle goes around the one eye and then the two eyes together. But my biggest tips for this page is to talk very slowly, point to your mouth, cup your ear when you want the student to repeat. Definitely use either a 2D printout prop or a 3D prop you have in your house. Then make sure you fix that pretend student mistake. So what I like to do is I point to my mouth and say it very slowly. I. Also, as you're going to see in my example for this page, I did reward the student a magic crystal as well as my secondary reward, which was an ice cream cone. I think this is a great place to start rewarding your student for doing a good job. I. Very good. One eye. Good. I. Good, Cindy. Eyes. Yes, 2 eyes. Good. 2 eyes. Yay, Cindy! Cindy, you get a crystal and ice cream. What color is it? Yes, it is green. The next slide is actually a little tricky. And again, this slide also has that hazard symbol. Here, your student is a little confused when you're asking them a question. So a great way to teach this slide is with a puppet. And I'm just going to show you the example I actually did in my interview. And just an FYI, if you do not have a puppet, use a stuffed animal or some printout of a boy or girl. You really just want to show that the teacher is talking to someone else, and then both of them will eventually talk to the student. What do you have? Good. I have 2 eyes. Very good, Cindy. Cindy, what do you have? Yes, Cindy. What do you have? I have 2 eyes. Teacher, what do you have? I have 2 eyes. Cindy, what do you have? Yes! Very good, Cindy. And as you saw in my example, I had the student repeat the question, then the student repeat the answer, then I asked the student the question. They were a little confused. I talked to my puppet, and then me and my stuffed animal asked the student the question again. And then hopefully by that point they understand that they're not supposed to repeat the question, they're actually supposed to say the answer. We should be on slide number 12 in the PDF file. And this file or this slide is another great place to use a different prop. I'm going to use a microphone. If you don't have a microphone, you could use like a magic wand or something to point to my mouth and then the students. Or you can just print out a 2D microphone, hold it up to you, and then eventually hold it up to the student. And this is going to be my prop where I'm going to repeat something and then the student is also going to repeat it. And here they are just saying, I have 2 eyes. Good. I have 2 eyes. Just like that, and you can see my example from my demo lesson. I have 2 eyes. Good. I have 2 eyes. Very good, Cindy. Cindy, another crystal, and another ice cream. Cindy, what color is it? Okay, so you should be on slide 13. And guess what? There's another hazard sign. I can honestly say, when I went through the application process, that was probably the most stressful part, was just paying attention to those hazard signs. So don't rush, really pay attention to those hazard signs. That shows that you as a teacher can adapt and change your lesson just a little bit to fit your specific student's needs. Now, this hazard sign mentions that the student is distracted. Now, when I actually teach classes, there's a few different ways I try to get a student's attention when they're distracted. One of the ways I like to do is just sing their name, and you'll actually see that in my example. I'm like, Cindy, 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 come on, Cindy. Now, my referring teacher actually recommended possibly having a toy. So I had a toy, and then I was also singing, Cindy, 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 come on. So you want to grab that student's attention before you even start this slide. But once you have your student's attention, you are going to teach big A and little a. Now, you can also have a prop for this slide. I personally used a note card. You can make your own note card on a piece of paper. You can also just use a whiteboard and have a big A drawn out as well as a small a, because on this side you're focusing on teaching big A and small a, and you want the student to repeat that at least 3 times. For example, what letter is it? It is big A. Yes, it is big A. And Cindy, 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 Cindy. Come on, Cindy, yes. Okay, Cindy. What letter is it? Yes, very good. Big A. Big A. Big A. Little a. Little a. Yes, little a. Okay, so we are at slide 14, and guess what? There's another hazard sign. So for this hazard sign, the student is a little confused on how to write the big and small a. So I always recommend for this slide, you model it first as a teacher, and then you have the student do it. And there are, of course, a few ways you can do this. I personally like to do it on a whiteboard. So as you can see here, I have dotted out the big A and small a little similar of how it would look on the Gogokid slide. So if you don't have a whiteboard, you can then just do this on the Gogokid screen. you would show the student what to do. So you would actually trace that letter A on the screen. Then you would ask the student, draw A, and then hopefully they would be able to do the small a independently. That would at least be the goal in the classroom. But I think this is a great page to have another prop, either your whiteboard or go back to that index card to review big and small letter A. Cindy, what letter is this? Yes. Cindy, click the pencil. Good. Very good. Cindy, write A. Yes. A. A. Very good, Cindy. You get another crystal. Now the next page, which is slide 15 in that PDF, you are going to be asking the student a question and they are going to respond. Now, Gogokid does mention you can use the feature, the on-stage function feature. Personally, I did not use this. I was a little bit confused, but if you go in and look ahead of time of how to use that feature, I definitely recommend you use the feature. It might give you some sort of bonus points. But here, you are simply asking the student, what do you have? You're wanting the student to say, I have 2 eyes. If you want to take out a puppet or you want to take out a prop, that might help your student be more engaged. But of course, that is your own choice. And I will show you what I actually did in my lesson. Cindy, what do you have? Very good. I have 2 eyes. Very good, Cindy. Now, before you get to slide 16, I forgot to mention in the previous slide, I think that's another great spot to give a reward. You want to try to use that secondary reward throughout your entire lesson. And as you'll notice in my demo lesson, I used it 4 times. Okay, the next one is a singing slide, so it's very easy. I hold out my microphone. Again, you can use your microphone, a magic wand, just a printout, whatever you have, and just bop around, pretend to sing, smile, whatever you want to do. Now, when I actually teach classes, I usually just smile. If I know the song really well, I might do some TPR in there, but I didn't know this song that well, so I just smiled and kind of bopped around, and you will see that in my example. Slide 17, you're gonna be so excited when you get here because it is the goodbye slide. So I always say thank you to the student and then I give them their reward and then I say goodbye. So it's very, very easy. Just make sure you're using those secondary rewards throughout your demo lesson. Thank you, Cindy. You get 1 more crystal and pink ice cream. Very, very good. See you next time. Goodbye. And then you're finished. So I know this video probably sounds like it's a lot, but it only took me about 12 minutes through the interview. And I would say I probably prepped for about 30 to 40 minutes. I watched other YouTube videos. I looked at the information my referring teacher gave me. I looked through the PDF file myself. I wrote down all my notes. I took out all my props. So I would say overall, it was about an hour and a half that I completed the whole process. And I'm actually really happy I did it because now I'm able to have that backup company in case something ever happens with one of my other companies. Now, hopefully in the future, I'll try to share more updates, but I think this video is long enough. So I hope you found the information helpful. If you want me to be your referring teacher, you can always reach out to me. I'll provide you different resources and guide you throughout the entire process. If you ever have questions, even if you're not my referral, I will gladly answer them. You can either send me an email or leave them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!